Now it's time for Christmas tradition number 3, Frosty the Snowman, released in 1969 on December 7th of that year. And the song's been around since 1950, and the guy who sang the song, I believe, was the second guy who sang it. I think there was a guy before him. I believe the guy that used the... Scott, cool yourself down. Jimmy Durante, I hope I said his last name right, is the special's narrator, and he's the second guy that sang the song. And I didn't really know who he was until just today. And when I finally looked the guy up, he passed away in 1980, a year before I was born. And outside that special, I really have no other knowledge of seeing him or hearing him in anything outside singing that Frosty the Snowman song. Oh, goodness. Well, this special was introduced to me back in the mid-80s, either 84, 85, or 86. I don't know which airing we had recorded, but I do know we did have recorded. And it's a Christmas tradition of mine, and I've started doing this since the 2010s. I didn't watch it every year before then, but after a while I said, you know what, Scott, let's just watch this every year along with Rudolph and Christmas Vacation, and one more, which is going to be after this. Okay, Frosty the Snowman is basically a story about a snowman that comes to life with a magic hat, and they now have to get him to the North Pole because it's starting to get warmer. It starts off with Jimmy walking towards us and telling us it was all about this. It's about snow, the special snow, the Christmas snow, and it makes people happy. First, it forces a guy to make a smile, then it causes another guy to go insane, and then it starts getting itself together and starts making everybody do everything the proper way. The first two were unfortunately not so lucky. Then we moved to the school, and it's the day before Christmas, and they obviously had school back in 1969 during Christmas, because I thought Christmas break started in the 18th or 19th or whenever, but I think it was always before winter. But apparently 1969 in the world of animation, you had to go to school on Christmas Eve. Okay, I'm correcting myself. They have a special treat. Professor Hinkle, who is only credited as the magician for the opening credits. He's a terrible magician. He screws up big time. He has a habit of repeating words that end with the letter Y three times. Messy, 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 silly, 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 and busy, busy, busy are the ones that he uses. Well, he gets annoyed that the hat is not doing anything, nor is Hocus Pocus, his little white rabbit, so he just throws it out. The kids, when they hear the bell, they just rush out there, carrying him with him, and then he drops to the floor. They go out, build a snowman, and then the hat gets on the snowman. He comes alive and says, "Happy birthday," for some reason. I guess it's because of the day he came to life. Well, Professor Hinkle takes the hat back because he now believes it does have magic, but apparently, after seeing his magic act, it's like it only brings stuff to life that's made out of Christmas spell, because that's the only magic we ever see the hat do. Okay, he makes friends. Frosty comes back to life when Hocus Pocus brings the hat back. He makes friends with the kids. He magically gets 5 fingers instead of 4 when he's trying to count to 10, but he's only able to count to 5. He does all this stuff that he magically now knows. He even knows what a thermometer is and how it works. And then whenever he goes to a parade to get to the North Pole, well, to a train station to get to the North Pole, because he now knows what the North Pole is, and he knows he'll never melt there. But as soon as he meets this police officer, he doesn't know what a street light or what a traffic light or a lamppost is. And I'm like, okay, maybe not all information was inputted in his head after that. But while they're doing that parade, the kids are with him, and people are freaking out that they're seeing this living snowman. But when the kids see him, so is the magician when he first comes alive, and they have really not that much of a shock reaction, and they get to go along with it just like that. It's really that silly. Well, they get to the train station. They don't have any money for a ticket, which is going to be like $3,000. So they sneak Frosty on board Frozen One with the rabbit, and then the one girl named Karen, who's one of the 2 girls that's in that group, goes with them. Yeah, those kids, after that, disappear until the end credits. You think they're going to go with him, too, especially the one in the green who's going to be the comic relief one, but no, they don't go with them. It's just Karen. And Karen is freezing in there, probably because she just has a jacket on and boots, but she doesn't have any pants on. Yeah, you can see, their shins, letting you know they're not really wearing socks, or if they are, they're wearing really small socks. So, and considering that it's snow outside, don't you think these kids would be a little cold, especially on their legs? So yeah, when Karen's freezing, you can easily understand why. She doesn't have any snow pants, like jog pants or anything like this, son. So of course she's gotta be cold. So when the train stops, they get off and they meet the neighborhood, well, it's gonna be the wildlife, who know how to decorate Christmas trees and start a fire. Karen starts warming up. Frosty stays away. Frosty asks Hocus Pocus, who's with them, for help. First, he suggests the Marines. Frosty knows who the Marines are. Then he suggests the president, Richard Nixon at that time. Frosty doesn't think the president can help. Then Hocus suggested Santa Claus. And apparently Santa is going to come to the animals. I don't know why, but he just is. But Professor Hinkle stowed away on that train when he realized he didn't have his hat on anymore. And he follows them out there. He got snow dumped all over him, which apparently knocked him out. But when he regains consciousness, he comes after them. Frosty gets carried on his back and jumps down a hill, slide on his belly, and he's able to go down, up. I'm like, I can understand down, but up? Okay. They stop at a greenhouse. They go in there to warm Karen up, but Frosty believes he's only going to be in there for a little while. But then Professor Hinkle just shuts the door, and it didn't even lock. So he just shuts it. Frosty doesn't even make an attempt to get out, nor does Karen even try and help him. He's like, the door's shut. Oh no, I'm trapped. Well, Santa shows up to the little forest animals, meets Hocus Pocus, and he's only got 4 reindeer, or deer. Remember in the world of animation, Santa normally has deer. But he's only got 4 with him. Where the others must have taken the other 4 must have taken Christmas Eve off. Probably a poker game. Okay. When they get there, Frosty has already melted into a puddle that doesn't look like it'd be big enough to consider how much snow he was. I think the puddle would be a lot bigger than that. But then Santa tells Karen about Christmas snow, and he opens up the door. The wind comes in, brings the water out, it refreezes, reshapes, turns back, the hat, the eyes, the nose, the pipe, everything's back in its place. They're getting ready to put the hat on until Professor Hinkle shows up, demands the hat, but Santa tells him if he touched it, he's never going to give him another present ever again, which hurts Professor Hinkle. So Santa tells him, right, I'm really sorry, a zillion times, a number that does not exist for the record. And he will give him a present, which might be a new hat. They put the hat on Frosty as Professor Hinkle heads off to go do all that writing. And Frosty comes alive. He goes to the North Pole. Well, first they drop Karen off on the roof of her house for the record, and they never show us how she gets down. But then the end credits play, she's right behind him when Frosty comes back next year for they do a parade. So she obviously did get down. Like, Karen, what the heck are you doing on the roof? Get down here. That's probably what her parents said. Well, the end credits does show that Professor Hinkle has a new hat, so obviously Santa did give it to him. Either he wrote only once and said a zillion doesn't exist, just so you obviously do not know all. We'll keep this between me and you if you give me that new hat. Gimme. Santa's like, here you go. Oh boy. That's okay. They do a parade, and then Frosty heads back and says he'll be back next year. And that's the special. Short, simple, and really easy to follow. And, yeah, I watch it every year, and, yeah, it's still fun. It's not as great as it was when I was a kid, but it still is fun. It is pretty ridiculous in a number of areas, so the story is left open for criticism, but it's still watchable. It's a good video. It's not great, but it is good. So, but if you haven't seen it, check it out. You're probably going to get some laughs and some enjoyment out of it, and you might start it as your own Christmas tradition. Well, one more to go, and that will be the Keaton Jack Frost film, and I'll do that on Christmas Day.